we're very hopeful here that the war will end in the coming year and that Ukraine can get back to development, to rebuilding. But how it will end is not clear.
Well, this time last year, Ukraine was at peace, but its citizens spent Christmas this year under the cloud of war. Every day this week, we're looking back on the last year of the Ukraine war with people who are living through it. And today, I'm joined by Alya Shandra, who is editor in chief at Euromaiden Press in Kyiv. Good morning to you, Alya.
Good morning.
Really good to have you with us. Let me just ask you, first of all, about the reports that we're getting today that Kherson, which was recaptured by Ukrainian forces, has come under a pretty sustained attack, and many civilians are trying to get out.
Well, first of all, I would like to wish a very, I hope that all the readers of Times Radio had a very Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on air. Yes, indeed. After Ukraine recaptured Kherson in early November, it is taking revenge by shelling the city without mercy. And just recently, on Christmas Eve, on 24th December, the shelling killed over 10 people. And just over the last night, the Kherson and Kherson Oblast was shelled over 50 times, as a result of which many people were injured. This continues just sort of in the backdrop. It happens all the time. And even if some shellings get into the mainstream news, like yesterday's shelling of a maternity hospital, it doesn't mean that the shelling sometimes stops. It just happens all the time. And of course, our authorities have urged residents, especially vulnerable population, to leave the city.
And
Um,
and Alia, we are looking back as well on the year in Ukraine, but just tell us first of all, and really good to have you with us today, about your Christmas there in Ukraine. What was it like?
Um, well, we're still going to be celebrating Christmas on 7th January as part of the by the Julian calendar, where
Of
most
course.
Ukrainians celebrate it on 7th. Although there is a shift actually when more and more people start to celebrate on the 25th. It's sort of like in line with most of the world. Last year, we were going caroling to our neighbors and just spreading Christmas joy through our songs as we usually do. We were eating traditional food. And thanks to our army, thanks to the Ukrainian armed forces, my family today can do this very same thing in Kyiv. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity, for all the people who are risking their lives, who are dying for our freedom, for Ukrainians to be able to spend Christmas in their homes. But at the same time, very many families are cannot be together. Many Ukrainians are refugees. Many Ukrainian men and women are on the front, and their Christmas will be spent there. Very many people have died, unfortunately, and we're entering this Christmas in our cities that are dark. They're devoid of all the cheerful illumination that was always here in Christmas. And it's rather a sad sight. But at the same time, we like to say right now that our light comes from within, because this war, it has united Ukrainians. It has brought out the best qualities in people, the qualities of helping each other, of sacrificing things for the sake of others, sacrificing our lives, sacrificing our time, sacrificing our health. So many people are volunteering right now. It's interesting that a recent poll, it has that measures an interesting thing that's called anomie. This is a condition in society where sort of where people are discouraged, where they're apathetic. It turns out, for the first time since 1991, Ukrainians are not apathetic. More Ukrainians
Okay.
are not apathetic than they are. This war has brought people together and united us in a single desire, victory.
It's really moving to hear that, Alia. And of course, you've been working as a journalist for some time, and the outbreak of war was for you a huge challenge professionally, as well as, of course, just getting through it. And so much has happened since the invasion back at the end of February. Are there particular moments that stand out in your mind?
Well, of course, the start of the war, it came as a surprise for me and my family, and we had to flee from Kiev because the idea was that it would be captured very soon, so we had to get the children out. Then the first military Ukrainian successes when the army retreated from around Kiev, when it retreated from the north, and it became evident that Putin's plans were not happening, that Kiev was not being taken in 3 days. Then, of course, the grueling war in the east and stunning Ukrainian counterattacks in Kharkiv Oblast and in Kherson Oblast. Then, when Ukraine became bolder and started striking beyond the front, with the strikes on Crimea air bases, the attacks, the naval attacks on the Russian fleet, that were really unprecedented in military history. And most recently, this mysterious attacks on Russian airfields, from where the jets, bomber jets, rise to shoot cruise missiles at Ukrainian cities. Just the recent attack happened a couple of days ago, and reportedly some two Tupolev bombers that carry these cruise missiles were destroyed reportedly. So we're seeing that Ukraine is gradually taking the upper hand actually in this war, but we do need the sustained support of the good people in the world, and we're so grateful for everybody in the UK for that are supporting us. We're grateful for the military support, for the training of our soldiers, and of course for the equipment that we're getting.
So
We
let me
just
just
need.
ask you then about the year ahead, 2023, those attacks on Kherson, a reminder that President Putin shows no sign of relenting in the invasion. Um, it's a huge question. What do you think is going to happen in the coming year?
Uh, we're very hopeful here that the war will end in the coming year, and that Ukraine can get back to development, to rebuilding. But how it will end is not clear. One thing that is clear, however, is that Russia wants no negotiations. Russia does not seek a peace. And it's also evident for us that it wants to obliterate the Ukrainian nation and will not stop at that desire. We definitely know that any before any negotiations can happen, the Ukrainian army must retake the land that Russia is occupying. And Ukrainian officials are very steadfast in pushing the idea that before any negotiations can happen, Russia must leave these territories. And
Okay.
it can either leave by its own free will, or Ukraine can retake them.
Alya Shandra, editor in chief at Euromaidan Press in Kyiv. Really good to have you with us, Alya, and all the very best for 2023.
Thank you, and for you also.